first I thought it was a cruel joke. We had been married for 30 years, raised children together, shared dreams and struggles. But when I saw the emptiness in his eyes, I knew it wasn't a joke. He had chosen another woman, and in that moment I was no longer his wife. I was a discarded chapter of his life. The room spun around me. My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst. "Who is she?" I whispered, my throat burning. He didn't answer. He simply walked out, leaving me at the table with nothing but cold food and a colder silence. That was the night I learned that the person you love the most can become a stranger in an instant. But my story doesn't begin there. No, to understand the depth of my heartbreak, we must go back. Back to the girl I once was, full of dreams and laughter. Back to the day I first met the man who would one day break my heart. What I'm about to tell you will show you how love can blind us, how devotion can trap us, and how sometimes the people we give our lives to are not the ones who deserve it. I was just 19 when I met Thomas. I was working at a small diner, wearing a simple apron when he walked in. Tall, handsome, with a smile that could melt the iciest heart. He ordered coffee, and when his eyes met mine, it felt as though the world had stopped. He charmed everyone in the room, but it was me he kept looking at. He began coming to the diner every day. Sometimes for coffee, sometimes just for a slice of pie. Always sitting in my section, always asking about my day. Slowly I fell for him. He was attentive, kind, and made me feel like I was the only woman in the world. When he finally asked me to marry him, I thought I was the luckiest girl alive. Our wedding was small but beautiful. I wore a second-hand dress. He wore his best suit, and we promised forever. For years life was good. We built a home, had children, and shared countless little moments. Late-night talks, Sunday morning walks, laughter in the kitchen. I believed in us. I believed in him. But the cracks began to show. Little things at first. Late nights at work, whispered phone calls, unexplained absences. I brushed them off, telling myself he was just busy, that he loved me, that he would never betray me. Love makes you blind. And I was blind. Until the night came when blindness was no longer possible. It was a phone call that changed everything. I picked up the receiver one evening when it rang, expecting to hear a friend's voice. Instead, it was silence, followed by the sound of a woman's laughter. A soft, intimate laugh that sent chills down my spine. When Thomas came home, I asked him about it. He grew angry, defensive, told me I was imagining things. I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. But the signs multiplied. The cologne that wasn't his, the lipstick stain on his collar, the way he began treating me like a shadow instead of his wife. Nights turned into endless waiting. Meals went uneaten. Our bed grew colder. I prayed, begged, and cried, but nothing changed. The day I saw them together was the day denial ended. I had gone to town to pick up groceries, and there he was, Thomas, walking hand in hand with another woman. She was younger, prettier, and he looked at her with the same adoration he once gave me. My knees buckled, and I dropped the bag of bread I was carrying. He saw me, froze for a moment, then turned away as if I were a stranger. That hurt more than the betrayal itself. That night he confessed. "I love her, Eleanor," he said, his voice steady. "I don't love you anymore." And just like that, 30 years of marriage crumbled. But the worst part was yet to come. When Thomas left, the house felt like a graveyard. His absence was everywhere. In the empty chair at the table, in the silence of the bedroom, in the faces of our children who couldn't understand why their father had chosen another woman over their mother. Our children cried, begged him to come home, but he didn't. He built a new life with her, leaving us behind like old furniture. People whispered behind my back, some blaming me, others pitying me. I carried the shame of a wife abandoned, the loneliness of a heart discarded. There were nights I thought I wouldn't survive. I would sit in the dark, clutching his old shirt, inhaling the faint scent of him, and weep until I couldn't breathe. I felt worthless, unloved, invisible. My faith wavered, my spirit crumbled. But life has a strange way of forcing you to keep moving. My children needed me. Bills needed to be paid. And though my heart was shattered, I put one foot in front of the other. I worked, I cooked, I cared for my children. Slowly, painfully, I began to build a life without him. And then one day, years later, I saw him again. Older, frilier, with regret etched on his face. The woman he had chosen over me had left him. And he stood before me, a broken man. What do you think I did when the man who shattered my heart came back to me, begging for forgiveness? Thomas stood at my doorstep, trembling, his eyes filled with tears. "Eleanor," he whispered, "I made a mistake. Please take me back." For a moment, the young girl in me, the one who had fallen in love with his smile, longed to say yes. But then I remembered the years of loneliness, the betrayal, the nights I wept alone. I remembered my children's tears, the shame, the heartbreak. And I knew the answer. "No, Thomas," I said softly but firmly. "You chose another woman over your family. You chose your path. Now live with it." His shoulders slumped. He begged, pleaded, but I stood my ground. For the first time in my life, I chose myself. And though it hurt, I closed the door and walked away. That was the day I truly began to heal. I learned that love should never make you lose yourself. That sometimes, letting go is the only way to find peace. I raised my children, built a life of strength, and though I never remarried, I learned to love myself in ways Thomas never could. Now, at 86, I share my story not to dwell on the pain, but to teach a lesson. Never give your entire self to someone who cannot see your worth. If they choose someone else, let them go. Because you, my dear, are not replaceable. I am Eleanor. I am 86. My husband chose another woman, but I chose myself. And that choice saved me. Thank you for listening. Share this story if it touched you, and remember, never let anyone make you forget your value. Your heart deserves love that stays.